Okay. Oh, now I think the microphone is working again. Hi there. This is my July 2018 This and That video, and I do believe that it's Friday the 13th. I'm finally getting caught up. I was a little behind in my videos for the last couple of months because of this infection in my eyelid that made me not want to be on camera. It's actually still there. It's just really tapering off really slowly, but it's never impeded my vision and my ability to see, which is thankfully good. Just metaphorically, it's been something clouding my view. So this month for my This and That, although all my other art lover videos and animal videos this month are about tigers, I thought my This and That video I'd just talk about painting elephants because I've been painting a lot of elephants of late. My new studio allows me to work on 2 or even 3 paintings of this size at a time, which I never could do before. I could never work on more than one. So this last cycle I painted Simunye and Tai, and I also painted this elephant Shenga. And I love painting elephants because they're just so complex texturally, and they are different, but the Asian elephant is very different. Their skin is very different than an African elephant. And elephants are very different when they're 35 years old or 45 years old than when they're 8 or 10. They just like me, you know, they're different. So technically they are just a joyful challenge. With my painting, I'm representational, and people go, oh my God, is that a photograph? If they look closely, it's quite clearly a painting. My goal, my interest is to find a way to capture the specifics of that animal without painting the specifics of the animal. On fur, I depend on ragged brushes to put it in and not like an individual line. That drives me crazy. It's not what I want to do. I want to paint furnace. So in elephants, I want to paint, you know, just all this, the road maps all over their face. And then they're covered with dirt, and it's wet or it's dry and it's dust, and I just love painting them. But one of the other things that's become really clear to me, as I've been painting all these elephants now for a couple of years and going to meet them, is they're very different experientially than some of the other animals that I love to paint, like the big cats and the great apes, the orangs and the gorillas especially, but also the chimps. I mean, those species have me hooked as much as elephants have me hooked. And rhinos. Rhinos more for this technical reason of elephants too. But those other species, when I have the pleasure of their company, they often are willing to look me in the eye, at which point I'm feeling assessed by that other being. I'm feeling like I'm meeting that other being. With elephants, that's not so true. The thing for elephants is their family dynamics. So they're not, you know, they're not making the same kind of eye contact with you. They're just not. I have the sense that they're certainly aware of my presence, but it just doesn't go into account. It don't. So, you know, I'm wondering with this portraiture where I'm trying to capture this being and bring this being out, if I don't actually have as much of a chance to, you know, grok that being, given my encounters of elephants with zoos and the fact that they're looking at each other. Then I have I'm bolstering my knowledge of elephants by reading about them separately, which just brings me to a deeper and richer understanding, and oh my God. Again, another conversation, but they're just amazingly intelligent, and they communicate in ways we can't imagine, and our own hubris, you know, makes us think that we're the biggest and the smartest and all that, but there's all kinds of intelligence. You know, hey, even I had 3 brothers. So we were each intelligent in our own ways. and to compare one to the other. Maybe it's not fair. The different kinds of intelligences, different ways that we are smart about things. You know, the same is true for elephants. So anyway, I'm going to move the camera now because this is the next one coming up. Well, I should introduce you to these guys. Well, I did a little bit. This is Simunye. I painted her before. Simunye, I met in Wichita in 2016 at the Sedgwick County Zoo. She had just come over from Swaziland, and she came over with a young son and her son Titan was about 7, I think, and 4 other elephants. And Simunye is tall and lanky, but she was outweighed by a ton by Stephanie, who was the 45-year-old who was sort of awaiting her whole life at the zoo to get a family when she was 45. So, and this down here is Zuberi, and Zuberi is one of the ones that came over with Simunye in that thing, and they just came over a few months before I arrived there, so they were all very new to everything. And this is Shenga, and I met Shenga last October in the Cleveland Zoo, where they also have some African elephants that have been together a long time, and including a one-tusked patriarch named Willie, I think. But I was so transfixed with her forehead. I don't even actually know everything that's going on in an elephant's skin. I've never touched an elephant's. I've never touched their skin. I hope to one day. Just, you know, partly of my, I'd love to just hug them, but, you know, partly of just my understanding. But anyway, I loved Shenga for the history she carried on her face. And then I'm going to move the camera a little bit. And this is Stephanie. And Stephanie was the one who was 45 years old. She's an African elephant. She's a tusked elephant. I've talked about her before. She grinds her own tusks down to nothing. But if I am, excuse the wobbles here, but if I'm back this way of here, I can see this little white, the tip of her tusk. That's, you know, they grow about a ½ inch a month, and she's grinds them down. So she outweighed Simunye. She had many years on Simunye, but she outweighed Simunye, even though Simunye is about as tall as she was. She's just a big girl. And they now have a bull elephant that outweighs her too, even though he's fairly young. But she was 45. She spent her whole life at the zoo with one other female elephant who had died a couple of years before. They had a not great habitat. The zoo worked very hard and built this enormous habitat. I mean, by zoo standards, I think it may be the second largest habitat in a zoo in the US. It's about 5 acres. It's grass. To see grass in an elephant enclosure. It has a lake deep enough they can submerge. It has a waterfall. It has another pool. It has living trees. It has trees whose bark they can tear off. It has, but the biggest thing is here is this female elephant who has been alone her whole life, and suddenly she has a family of 6. And suddenly, because she is the oldest and the biggest, you know, it's just sort of assumed that she gets to be the matriarch. And within elephant culture, oh my God, that is such an important role. So here's my next painting, and now I'm going to move it again. And Stephanie is in this painting. And this is the first painting. You're just going to look at just a black and white print now. This is just, I blew it up. It's got tape down the middle. It ain't nothing pretty about it right now, but I cropped and blew up my photo to the size that I wanted for this. Sorry for the wobble. And so this is Stephanie on the left, and this little one here, excuse the wobble again, clearing my cord. This little one is a Rusi, and she is naturally tuskless. And of the 6 elephants that came over from Swaziland, there was Stephanie and there was her son, and there were 3 female elephants, including Zuberi and Zolani, who I might show you later, who I've already painted. And they were guessing that at some point when they do genetic testing, they'll find out that they might be sisters or cousins. But they clearly had a relationship when they came over, and an even deeper one now. But this little one really didn't. She was just sort of an orphan in the mix. I think she's about 6 when I met her. And apparently, you know, they had their big elephant barn, and they had to introduce the elephants to Stephanie, you know, in a safe manner. And the first thing that happened was little Arusi made it known that she wanted to be with Stephanie. And Stephanie let it be known that she wanted to be with Arusi. And so the first elephants from Swaziland that met the elephants in Wichita is these two. And though Arusi is not looking up and making eye contact at me in this photo, which all my other paintings do, and Stephanie is also not looking at me, I still really feel that in a very intimate way, this will be a great portrait of Arusi, because in the way she's just huddling with her, there's just, because I know the backstory, and I want to bring the backstory into this, I'm looking forward. I think this will be a very intimate portrait. So that's it. That's my July. Whoops, I forgot. I didn't introduce you to everybody. So I was standing in front of Ty, and that just allowed me to ignore him. And I'm going to turn the lights off because, hold on a second. But this is Ty. Ty is also the old man. I think he's, 40 or something? Ty is an Asian elephant. He just became a father for the 5th time, just a couple of weeks ago, a month ago. He's been at the Houston Zoo for a very long time. He was brought over to be a circus elephant in some kind of small circus in Oregon when he was quite young. And he's been at the Houston Zoo for 30 years or something like that, and they love him there. And he's a good dad. Elephant dads aren't usually around to do it, but zoo culture changes that. But he, largely, obviously, he is with the female elephants sometimes. Or those little elephants wouldn't ensue, but for the most part, he spends his day only with his own sons, who are of varying ages, and sort of showing them how to be a man in the world. But Asian elephants are, anyway, I'll do Thai later, more in depth, but they're just quite amazing in their own way. And one quick other one, this is Zolani, and she was about 6 when I met her in Wichita, and she was one of those sisters or cousins or something to Zuberi, who came over from Swaziland. That's it. So that's it. That's my July this and that. Have a great rest of your summer. I'll see you in August. And I love elephants.